Микрофон что?
Ну давай дадим.
Да.
Ну а второй команде тогда тоже надо?
Нет, просто у каждой команды по микрофону.
Да.
А, ну давайте.
Зачем? Вот просто включен.
Он включен. Горит там?
Good afternoon, dear ladies and gentlemen, our honorable judges, our dear opening and transfer. I'm the first speaker of the proposition team. My name is Jessica, and our team is Red Hot Chili Peppers. My teammates are Michael, he's the second speaker, and the reply speaker, and the Tifesh is the third speaker of our team. So the motion of our today's game is this house regards the rising popularity of mental illness depictions in movies and series. And we are absolutely sure that we can convince you that it's true. So the motion is really important and actual nowadays because mental health issues are increasingly prevalent and discussed. Media powerfully shapes public perception, and its portrayals of mental illness can significantly impact on viewers and those that live to experience. The recent rise of mental illness depictions in TV and film prompts questions about their impact on society and the mental health community. So the value of this motion lies in prompting awareness, challenges stereotypes, sparks dialogue about responsible representation, potentially fuels advocacy for the stigmatization and support for those living with mental illness. As for actors, we have the main actors in the films, so society, viewers, and mentally ill people. To prove our motion, we would like to present you our definitions. The first definition is depictions. Depictions refer to representations or portrayals of something often in visual art, literature, or media. This can conclude illustrations, descriptions, or interpretations of people, events, or concepts. Mental illness refers to a wide range of mental health conditions that affect on mood, thinking, and behavior. These disorders can include anxiety disorders, depression, schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, and more. Mental illnesses can impact daily functioning and quality of life, and may require treatment through therapy, medication, or other interventions. Movies and series are powerful tools that not only entertain people but also shape their social dynamics, cultural conversations, and individual identities. So now we would like to present you our case. Our first argument is misinformation and stereotypes. Our second argument sounds like glorification of suffering. And the third argument is desensitization. I'll explain our first two arguments and the third argument is going to be presented by our second speaker. So the first one. Our major issue with how mental illnesses are portrayed in movies and series is that they often fail to depict these conditions accurately. Many films and shows focus on the most extreme and sensational aspects of mental illness, presenting characters who behave in ways that are not representative of the majority of those who struggle with these conditions in real life. For instance, a character with depression might be shown as completely withdrawn and unable to function, while in reality, many people with depression just still go about their daily life, holding jobs and maintaining relationships. This inaccurate representation can have serious consequences when audiences primarily see these exaggerated portrayals, and they may start to associate mental illnesses with violent and erratic behavior what they see in movies and series, falling into a trap of misunderstanding. This not only perpetuates harmful stereotypes, but also stigmatizes mental health issues, making it more challenging for individuals to openly discuss their struggles. The society only understands mental illness through these disordered lenses. It becomes nearly impossible for people to recognize mental health as a legitimate concern that demands empathy and support. For example, Fight Club is about a man with dissociative identity disorder struggling to live in a world that requires a dominant personality to take charge. The narrator uses the charismatic Tyler, Brad Pitt, as a coping mechanism. So Tyler takes over whenever the narrator can't find people or find purpose in his life. And so because everyone is special, no one is. The book actually coins the term to describe the narrative's dissociation from society, where Fight Club gets the narrative's mental health illness wrong in implying that the mundanity of his daily struggles triggered of mental breakdown along the dissociative identity disorder term. In reality, it would have taken severe trauma, and just in other movies that misrepresent mental illnesses, each personality wouldn't be aware of the other one, much less be aware of the much less to be other ones, much less to be able to have long conversations. So the second argument, glorification of suffering, another significant concern regarding the portrayal of mental illnesses, health issues in films and series, is the tendency to romanticize, glorify, or sensationalize the struggles associated with these conditions. Often stories highlight characters who endure profound pain and turmoil, framing their suffering as a noble struggle that ultimately leads to some type of form of artistic genius or personal growth. This narrative can create also a dangerous misconception that mental illness is not only the part of one's identity, but also something that should be embraced or celebrated. When movies and shows depict mental illnesses in this way, they can inadvertently send a message to viewers that suffering is an essential part of the human experience, or even worse, that it is something to be admired, kind of. This can lead to a troubling belief that individuals must suffer deeply to be understood or to make a significant impact on the world. For instance, audiences may see troubled artists, tortured geniuses, or brilliant mavericks who channel their pain into their work, leading to the glorification of their mental struggles as a part of larger narrative of success. For example, we use Joker, the movie Joker. There is a scene where Arthur Fleck, the main character, is on the subway and is harassed by three men. His reaction escalates into violence, which is depicted as a result of his mental illness. This kind of portray can reinforce harmful stereotypes that people with mental health or issues, illnesses, are inherently violent and dangerous for other people, which is the point of the proposition team that we use. Okay, thank you.
You pay for it. Take the mic with you to say the points. Thank you very much for your speech, and now we're moving on to the first speaker from the team opposition.
One, two, three. Okay. So my speech starts in 3, 2, 1. So about the refutation of our opponent's argument. Firstly, they are talking about a real image of a mentally person, and because of that really mental ill persons are suffer. But why this person which suffers in real life will compare and correspond his to the obras and to that depiction in the films. I'm as a mentally ill person, I won't compare myself to that depiction just because of some points. Firstly, I'm living in another situation because if our opponents talk about harm form of that illness and depiction, it means that just I'm live in the bottom of life. I have bad communication. I'm in trouble and everything and all work against me. If I have a little depression, I won't correlate myself to this point just because I'm living in a similar world. I have communication, friends, my family, things that I like and people who love me. So I won't correspond. Even if I have a problem, I also have psychologists who helps me to overcome this problem. And I go to the psychologist and say I have a problem with that film and that depiction. And psychologist says to me, you shouldn't watch it, you don't pay attention to the things, and the opinion of my psychologist will be more important for me than the depiction of the film. So it's not the point we're talking about. Then about misunderstanding from the proposition side. To bring something better in world, there is no need to suffer for me because we have firstly much more examples of scientists, sportsmen from USSR, and also in films the depiction where people do not suffer so much and have no illness depiction, but have good life, can bring positive things to people, and there is also people who don't think I need to be on the highest level of society. I just need to live my life, create family, kids, teach them, and so on, do my job. Because of that, for them it's not important point and not important thing they will think so. So firstly, our opponents agreed that movies and series are really important for us to create the mass culture and to create attitude to society to some problems and to some prisons. Then, what the attitude to society to mentally ill person? Society really have a really negative attitude to that. Just because it's a native thing. Society wants to protect its people from another unknown, something different, strange things, and it's all about that mentally ill person. And also society not so concerned about that mentally ill people for two reasons. Firstly, it has its own problem to solve it. Secondly, it's divided by its closed group, and communication its closed group likely not consider that mentally people to pay attention to them. Also, as I'm a person and I live my life, it's much more prioritized to think about me, my family, my teacher, my friends, than think about some guy I'll never meet in my life. Also, we're talking about a mental ill person. Who is that mental ill person? We are including DTSP, autism, and forms of it, because it's also problems in brain of person, and it's real effect on his life. A mentally ill person has his deviation of brain. Because of that, he acts in another way, behave in another way, have another worldview, and it's not something bad for us. Because if I had another worldview, but there is no people who may understand and can understand me. Because of that, I suffer a lot, and we have a big group of actors like children, teenagers who have that illnesses from birth, but they can't control it, and they can affect it to go out of this situation. What is the situation I, as a mentally ill person, has? Firstly, I have no friends, or the lack of friends and communication, just because I'm different, and society understands society about me, and another people won't accept me just because of that my things from birth. Then, if I had no communication, firstly, I'm as a person want to communicate with each other. When I tried some things, and I tried a lot to communicate, and society won't accept me, in the future I won't just try it. So because of that, it gives a lot of of suffer and harm for people with mental illnesses in their long run perspective. We have the lack of love, or maybe not a lack of love, we have the situation that really gives harm for family of that person, and it can be the situation where parents not really love that person, so it's maybe also the lack of love in this family too. Also, we have the that suffer from families. If I, as a parent, accept that person, for me it's taking a lot of effort to think with that opinion with that child, and I need to spend all my life, and I'll help to that my child in his adulthood in the rest of my life. Because of that, there is no actor in the motion who suffer more than that families and that person. Also, if our opponents considers another actors in this motion, they won't suffer as our actors in our motion. So how will films help it? In society which is not concerned about another situation, it's not important to happen. But if that depiction firstly show that problem, and that depiction makes me sympathy of that guy. So if I have no imagination how it works and how that guy live, for me it's unusual and something new when I understand there is some guy in our society that can be accepted and they're so poor and so on. Why that depiction won't get negative images? Just because that images are so unsocial, and I understand all the problem of that guy, and I understand that I will never have all that problem that guy have, and I'm not angry at that guy. I'm just understand that he has no opportunities to act in another way, and if he made something bad, it's I'm not that angry that he made it. I'm just understand his poor situation in his life. Also, we have a lot of films that providing that situation when that guys are important and can show to the society some good things like kindness, like humanity. It's like forgiveness. Like I'm not understanding what happened to me, but I'm not angry at people who are against me, who are bullying me, and it really works. And society can't think. Okay, 15 seconds. And society can't think about it. And if society have awareness to think about it, it's the first way how they can solve this problem. Because all these facts vote for opposition.
So, now let's welcome the second speaker from the team Proposition.
Hello, my name is Michael. This is the second speaker of the proposition team, and we'll continue on to this in motion. We'll know it. And first of all, I would like to rebuttal our argument. So, in our opponent's refutation, they were talking about. So first of all, they're talking about that mentally ill people society would want to protect them. Well, in some kind of imaginary perfect world, yeah, this maybe, but not in our world, in our realistic world, yeah, when people see that someone's different, they're automatically gonna exclude them for their group, that they're gonna kind of try to exclude them from society. Because they see, oh, he's not like me, yeah, that means, yeah, he should be removed, yeah, he shouldn't be contacting with me. And yeah, of course it would be nice if people were understanding, people were caring, but the world doesn't work like that, yeah? Like we said previously, yeah, he's different, yeah, the other people are the same, I'm gonna stick to the group where the same people, yeah, and if someone's different, yeah, kick them out, yeah, exclude them, discriminate them. And later, if I have time. They're also talking about that the mental ill person will talk with a psychologist, and abracadabra, he won't care about films, and the basic society, he will trust his psychologist more. Well, yet again, not true, because these films don't only affect the mentally ill people, they affect normal people that are fully functioning parts of society too, because they'll be showing depictions of mentally ill people, yeah, and this person that is mentally ill, sure he knows, yeah, this is my disorder, yeah, I'm sort of normal, yeah, I can be adequate around people, people can talk with me, people can be friends with me, yeah, but because these other people are seeing the incorrect, exaggerated, dramatized depictions in movies, yeah, they will automatically assume, automatically think that this person, yeah, is a bit he's a threat to society, yeah, and I shouldn't contact with him. And so truly, it doesn't work. And plus, because even if I go to my psychologist, yeah, and I'm mentally ill, I will still worry about how other people perceive me, because these examples that they see in films, which are incorrect, quickly.
Okay, and other people won't perceive me and accept me as that depiction in the movie, because they see really different situation in real life in that movie, so there is no point to compare myself and that movie depiction.
There is a point, because like I already said, they're being brainwashed. Yeah, everything they're fed is incorrect, is exaggerated. Yes, there might be a different picture in the real world, or how the person acts is different, but they've been fed, they've been kind of bombarded with these wrong, exaggerated, dramatized pictures, depictions of mentally ill people, that they won't be able to accept this person for who they truly are, and they'll be still seeing, yeah, or still somewhere in the subconsciousness, they'll be still seeing that incorrect depiction. And because, like already just adding to what I said previously, because they are ill, yeah, everyone cares about what people think about them. And plus, I'm already mentally ill. Yeah, that gives one insecurity. Plus another insecurity that what people are going to think of me. Yeah, plus I have the third insecurity because I'm being shown incorrectly. Yeah, on the screen, on the set. Yeah, and this truly makes my life a lot harder, a lot more scary, because I'm scared that people are not going to accept me. People are going to see me, yeah, as the same characters that are on the screen, which are doing harm to society, which are threats, which are mostly actually another problem. Yeah, they're mostly shown as criminals. Yeah, so they're shown someone on the screen, yeah, who's mentally ill. They're shown as murderers. They're shown as all sorts of villains, which are threats, like again, threats to society. Now continuing on with our case, we have our third argument, which is decentralization. So the increasing prevalence of mental illnesses portrayals in movies and series can lead to a troubling phenomenon. Yeah. Of decentralization. So basically, when people are constantly bombarded with these images of mental illnesses, which are incorrect, which are, like I said previously, exaggerated, yeah, and just incorrect overall, yeah, they just see it as more of a plot device is used for entertainment. They don't see the actual true human suffering, the true human experiences behind those depictions. And this kind of narrative can undermine the true gravity of mental illnesses and health struggles that people have. Yeah, the true illnesses, the true, like we already said previously, the true experiences that are behind these depictions. For example, a character's mental breakdown can be portrayed in a way that is extremely, or just not extremely, just a bit exaggerated, or just comically absurd. Yeah, and this will lead to people, to society, and to actually the mentally ill people too, to kind of shrug it off, or even just laugh at that depiction. Yeah, they will see, yeah, some guy having a mental breakdown. Oh, he fell on the floor. Yeah, he's rolling around. That's funny. Yeah, that's the problem. Yeah, and this also plays a big role. Kind of affects mentally ill people too in a big way, because it kind of may diminish in the eyes of the mentally ill people the urgency for change, the urgency for support. Yeah, and for those who are suffering, this can lead to a lack of investment in mental health resources and innovations, and ultimately it may inhibit advancements in understanding and treatment of mental illnesses overall. Oh, thank you. That's cute. So overall, just a lot of problems. Yeah, concerning these incorrect depictions. And this is why we regret it, because it just leads to them being outcasts, yeah, of society. You know, you're so certain that mental people search for help, they seek help, but they won't, because they recognize themselves in the generic depiction that is present in films and series today. Yeah. Yeah, we'll recognize. That's it. Thank you very much.
So hello everyone, I'm the second speaker of the opposition side. So we have the motion, and I want to start with the presentation of our opponents. They had an idea about the bad image or extreme example image in the movies about the mental illness depiction, and I truly disagree with it, because what? They're talking about the Joker. For example, the Joker on the Fight Club. Is it a real example of the real people? It's not. It's the fiction. And we have the example with the film movie Forrest Gump. We have the real person that had the real mental issue. They had the problems with the communication with the society. And what? In the end of the movie, the people trying to help him and trying to show him that we are with you. We show that this guy, the guy in the Forrest Gump, it is something real. It's something that can be in the reality, because it is the real world. If we have, for example, Joker, it is the fiction. It is the fantasy fiction, and we and me as a mentally ill person, I won't associate, or other people, they won't associate with the Joker. They will associate with the Forrest Gump, and the Forrest Gump is more real example, and we still have the good examples. The example of the good behavior from the mentally ill person. Our opponents trying to, demonize the mentally ill person and show them that they have no any idea, any opportunities to live. But we really truly disagree with it. And if we will have, okay,
right. So that's the problem. It's fiction. Yeah, people mostly watch this stuff and they see the fiction characters of mental ill problems. Yeah, even in realistic movies where they're showing real people, yeah, they're still exaggerated, and there's still the producers have their own thoughts, which is incorrect and still can lead to problems and misunderstanding
Okay, I
of
understand.
people. Yeah.
We have the fiction in Joker. Joker is not a real person, and it is demonization of the mental ill person. We have the Forrest Gump. It is the real person. We trying to say, and it is based on the true story. It just shows that it's not a fiction. The fiction is in the people's mind that mentally ill person is something about the demon. But we, because of the rising of the popularity, we're showing the people that it's not something demonizing. It's something usual, and we as the people, we will think about it. Why? We will admit and have the empathy for them. Why? Because of the movies. While I'm watching the movie, for example, 2 hours, I'm in the skin of this mentally ill person. If I have the empathy, most people in the society have the empathy. They will be in the place of this guy, and they will understand that it's not him as a demon. He has the social problems. We have the social problems, and the social problems cause this mental illness. And it shows that he is not a demon, and he is not. Belonging in the problems, and we will have we will understand that he's not a demon. We will try to help him, and it's one of the parts. So, and it's how the usual people will think about it. They will have the empathy and the support for these mentally ill people, and mentally ill people will feel support from the society, will feel support from the people because they're more sure in the problem before. If we want to have the rising popularity of mentally ill person, we won't have any attention to them in the society. No one will know about this. We're trying to increase the social awareness. Our opponents not. So, okay, and we have the usual people that will have more empathy and etc. And we have we have the companies. How will think the company? We have the mainstream about the about the mental illness people in the films. We're showing the mainstream that we need to help them, and the companies that are creating, for example, the movie, they will some money that they earned will contribute to the help of these people, because the most movies about the mentally ill people, they're based on a true story, and they will send money to these mentally ill people, or to big psychologists, or to some funds that are collect this money, and etc. So, and that's why we will have the two sides, and just in other companies they will feel too, because we have the mainstream that we have to help them, and we have the both wealth benefits for the people, for these mentally ill people, because they have the money to go, for example, for the psychology, and we have the understanding and the admission of the society from the society, because they won't have such pressure, because people are in their skin because of the movies, and they will understand that not their demons, the demons. Because this is a social problem, and we have to solve these social problems, and we shouldn't be toxic to them. And if we will have the world of our proposition without the rising popularity of such movies, people will think like our opponent said. They will just hate them, just hate mentally ill people, without any motivation to help them, because they do not understand their problem, because they think another. If we will have the movies, they will have the opportunity to think like them. That's why we will have the opportunity. We will have increased chance of the society to understand their problem. So as a consequence, we will understand their problem. We will understand them. So, and the people won't act like our opponent said. They will act in the proposition side, but not in the opposite side, because of the rising popularity. That's why we shouldn't regret. Okay, we have another idea about the cultural enrichment, and as I said, we have the mainstream. As I said, a movie is in the part of art, and one of the main value and the goals of art is showing the current society problems. We have the movies about ill person. It is we have the rising popularity in the topics, so it means we have that. And the second, we have a lot of mainstream about the increase in psychology. We admit that psychology is we admit that psychology is no science, not a fiction, and the people trying to understand this problem. Why the movies? So the movies summary, a little bit summary. Movies are showing the problem. Movies and art are showing the problems of current society. Yeah. What are the movies? Movies. It is about mentally ill person. It is a new, unique way of cultural enrichment, because what? It is a new, absolutely new characters of the main characters. Yeah, no new personality, because the people with the mental ill, they are like us, but they think in another way, and it's much more. It is some a new kind of characters, and it's really interesting to go deep in personality, because it is something that among us. It's something that's real, but they think truly another, because they don't have the mentally ill. So, and the people will be interested to go deep in exploring the problem that with these characters, and they will just be, they will have an interest just to watch the film because it is not like we had before, because some new characters, some new ways, some new way. And yeah, that's why people will see it. And it is a new direction of the cultural enrichment and cultural development, because we have the new unique style, we have the unique characters in the person, so we have more cultural prospects of this point. So what is the culture? Culture is the summary of people's achievements in different directions, for example, art. Yeah, and if we will have the and boys are important because we go deep. And what does the cultural enrichment give to us? The first point is the attention to the society problems, like increasing the social awareness, because people will understand about this problem. The second is about the point about the reflexy, that people can do art, understand and reflect the problem that they had before. And I will explain more a little bit better. And one more point about the pleasure for the people, just to see a unique new movie that we have. So, and they will have the pleasure because it is an interesting film about an interesting people that are in life, and we have, yeah. So the cultural development will be so. A little bit more about the reflexes that we have. I wanted to make the example. We have the problem of the racism before in the 1990s. We have the, for example, movie Green Book, and we can, we as the scientists and the usual people, we can understand like and analyze what we had the problem, social problem before, because the movies are showing it. For example, racism in Green Book in 19th. And right now we have the BLM and other, movements that are showing us the problem are we have more rights for the black person and etc. So the racism problem was completed, and that's why the movie is one of the parts that how we can admit and analyze this is going. If we will have the social analysis right now with the mental illness depiction, we can compare it in the future. Have we solved this problem or not? That's all I want to say. Thank you for attention.
Now let's welcome the third speaker. The third speaker from the proposition.
Hello, my name is Toptyshia, the third speaker of the proposition team, and I'd like to start the speech with a replication of our opponent's speech. So first, they were talking about how, basically they were saying that mentally ill people they were promoting the idea that mentally ill people are really, how do I say this, very simple and easy to figure out. Well, their mind is always really complex, and because a person is mentally unstable, and in 99% of situations, they get insecure. You don't understand the complexity of mentally ill people. It corrupts their minds, the mental illness, and life. Sure, they get help from their therapist, but it will not magically cure them. You are putting out an inaccurate depiction of mentally ill people as if they are so simple and predictable. You are so certain about the fact that mentally ill people are seeking help after seeing the representation, but they won't. Because usually it doesn't represent them as realistically as it is in real life, because every single mentally ill person is individual, and that is exactly why they start to compare themselves with the mentally ill people that they see in the media. Because, okay, let's say, for example, there's a person with an eating disorder, and they see a movie about a person with an eating disorder. For example, the person is thinner than them, and they might seem like they're not thin enough and not sick enough to be a person with an eating disorder. So they get insecure, and they start to starve themselves, and their eating disorder gets worse. That's usually why it's a problem. And also, they were saying that it's fiction, and that usually the things that we, our examples are fiction, but it's fiction, it's unrealistic. That's why it's harmful. This Gymnasium was mostly going to our side, as we were saying that it's fiction, and that it's basically harmful. There are far more stories that are depicting unrealistic scenarios than positive, so that's exactly why this goes to our side, as there are only единицы of the... Yes.
So the scenario when happens something good is better because people are pay attention to that good scenarios. But bad scenarios is another thing, because I want as a person in which life there is a lot of bad things, pay attention to that scenario with a bad conclusion.
So usually people, basically, there's a thing to directors of these medias. They want to do the shock factor. So that's why usually they make these very intense plots for that the person is hooked, and sometimes it's even really insanely unrealistic, because not all people want, it's not interesting for people to look at only like positive depictions of everything and like rainbows and butterflies, because it gets boring easily. So that's why it's unrealistic. And you are also the people that
Wait, please.
yes.
Sorry. But we have mental illness depiction, and it's not, anything good with the butterflies. We show in the bad problem with the problems of these people, and the people will go in the empathy. So it shows that we will have interest on the people. So what are you talking about?
Well, mostly because, as I just said, that there are a small percentage of actual good mental illness depictions in series, because they, as I said, they usually advocate for as like a marketing strategy to get people hooked to watch their series or media. And usually people aren't looking for something too, positive, if that makes sense, and like that accurately depicts, because they're looking for, like, they're not in their criteria like, I need to find a film to watch that is accurate. I want to watch a film that is interesting, and they get hooked on it because it's unrealistic, and maybe like, yeah, it's because it's unrealistic. So you were also the one to suggest that mentally ill people are the demons. So you're technically like brainwashed by the depictions in the series, because how will society understand the problem if it's mostly unrealistic? People watch series only because they're interested, as I said, to make it more, because they're so people only watch series because they're interesting to make it, and directors make stories to make more, directors make stories that are mostly unrealistic and to add to the shock factor, so that it raises sales and people watch their media more, because it's not mostly about raising awareness in the film industry and media industry, as they just want money. They don't really care about the representation that much. Yes.
So we have the example of the Joker, it is truly fiction, and we had the facility of why the Joker is a psycho, because no one cares about his problem. We have the social problems among him, and no one understands him. So it is, even the Joker are showing the problem and increasing the social awareness about the mentally ill person, that we have to help them, not to have the consequences that Joker made.
But that's exactly why it is harmful, because it is fiction, it is not an accurate depiction, and we are advocating exactly for that. So right now, you were saying just things that are basically supporting our side. So now I'd like to make the rebuttal of our arguments. So our first argument was misinformation and stereotypes. So one major issue with how mental illnesses are portrayed in movies is that they often fail to depict these conditions accurately. Many films and shows focus on the most extreme and sensational aspects of mental illness, and they don't really care about the accuracy, because, as I said, usually in this industry, people are looking for how to make a stable and big income, whereas they want representation, because usually people that want representation are the people who are mentally ill, not the actual directors. They just want sales and more money to whatever they're doing. So furthermore, these portrayals can influence the way people view those with mental health conditions in real life, as I said, with the example about the person with the eating disorder. So this disconnect between reality and fiction can discourage individuals from seeking help or talking about their own experiences for fear of being misunderstood or judged. Also, the main targeted audience of usually of these, the most people who are influenced are teenagers, because their minds are still being formed, and they might not understand the consequences of what they're watching and what they're doing. And they'll prefer to watch something like Joker rather than something simple and realistic, because they're teenagers and they just want to watch something that is more fun to their liking. But it is harmful for them. Okay, so our second argument was glorification of suffering. Another significant concern regarding the portrayal of mental health issues in films and series is the tendency to romanticize or sensationalize the struggles associated with these conditions. When movies and shows depict mental illness this way, they can inadvertently send a message to viewers that suffering is an essential part of the human experience, or worse, that it's something to be admired. As a result, individuals grappling with mental health issues might feel pressure to endure this pain silently, whereas they should seek help and attention. They may internalize the idea that real strength lives in enduring the suffering that they have in their head, whereas actually seeking help. Moreover, the glorification can affect the perceptions and behaviors of those who are not directly experiencing mental health issues, and they might have a false imagining in their minds about these people, and it can be a very harmful thing. Our third argument was desensitization, which is the increasing prevalence of mental illness portrayals in movies and series can lead to a troubling phenomenon, desensitization, in which this poses a significant barrier to empathy. When society is bombarded with portrayals of mental illness that likely ends in death, it can foster an attitude of indifference towards the real struggles that individuals endure. Moreover, desensitization can affect how mental health services are perceived. If mental illness is seen through the lens of entertainment, it might diminish the urgency for systemic change and the support needed for those who are suffering. Well, let's say thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much. And now let's welcome the third speaker from the team opposition. Yeah, sure, take your time.
Okay, so let's go hello the audience. Glad to see all of you in this room. So first of all, my name is Irina. The first thing I want to highlight is about the representation of the illnesses and how it affects on the mentally ill persons or the society. Also about the willing to be empathy to the people from the society side. Also about teenagers and a little bit of suffering. In the end, not my speech. I will also speak about it. Okay. First of all, our the opponent said, usually when I, as a mentally ill person, see someone like me in the films or in the series, it's very over feeling. It's not that bad in my life, but I also will be insecure about my problems, so I go in my life and do it like the person in the character in the films do. But it's not like that. Just because I have a critical thinking, even if the mental illness is just a part of human, it's a complex problem. It's maybe very complicated, but also I have still the critical thinking. I still the parts of the human which can cope with it. And also, if I have not such a serious problem, for example, I have a life study of depression or Gymnasium or something like that, I also can think how big is my similarity to the person in the film, and if in the end person will go and, for example, like Joker or like some other character kill someone, it's not like I want to do. It's not what I want to do in my life. So I will think that, okay, this is bad in ending. I want to avoid behavior. I want to cope with my problem, just to not to be like that person. And also, as a society, it's very supportive to me, which I see soon. I will also think that, okay, now I can have some support. Now I can avoid this problem. So, secondly, about the society. About the empathy of the society. So first of all, the logic which our legal opponents present to us, for example, when I see the person and I'm defined it from myself, I don't want to talk with it just because it's not similar, it's different to me, it's not like me, it's, for example, unhealthy in other, it's just working in the world of our legal opponents where I have no rise in the popularity of the such films and series. where I have no understanding why, what is the mentally ill problems. And I, as a mentally ill person, will be suffer more and more in our openness world, just because nobody say that anything about my problem, nobody cares about it. And I'm, as a mentally ill, it will be too harder to me even to understand that I have the mental illnesses, not even to cope with it. So if everyone told that your problem is just not exist, it's not intense, it's not important to us, and so on, it will be more and more worse than the rising of popularity of the discussing this problem. And also we have the positive scenarios for the mentally ill person, for example, the Forrest Gump, the good doctor, and other. When I'm as a character are coping with some problems, and I'm as a character are represented, the mentally ill is just a part of my personality. So I also can exist as a useful man, as a very important man in the part of society. So also, when I see, for example, some news, I see the news about wars or news about racism and other, I'm like an average man would like just, for people, I think I have a little bit of empathy, but okay, it's hard and other. But it's a very different. It's very different from the person which certainly have a, for example, 2 hours of the films or the days of the series, which I'm going through the problems, which presented very emotional through the regisseur side and through the film, and I have the fixed time, the 2 hours or more than 2 hours for the series, just to understand all of the problems and all of the reasons why person isn't so and why person feel that really bad. And for example, when I see the news about racism, and when I saw the film about racism or go to the profile for some person in social media, I just faced with this problem, and I see the people and the human minds in front of this problem, not just the problem, but the understanding how it works, and it gives me very empathy. So, also, about the intense plot and other, I think this is irrelevant just because, okay, maybe it's the reason why I, as a consumer, as a viewer, will view this film, but not the reason why, and why it would be interested for it, but not the reason why I, as a consumer, will trust for all of the things which movies gives to you, just because I still have a critical thinking. And I think that, for example, people who are in a hard study of the trauma, of the problem, are not at all a lot of other mentally ill person. So also about the teenagers, about the watch Joker, or you have a point, you can ask.
Oh god, there's so many already. The last point I was trying to make was, first of all, we're mostly talking about just society, not just mentally ill people themselves. Yeah, sure, they're affected, but society makes them the bad people, yeah, through these wrong depictions. Most people won't look deeper. They will watch the film and continue on with their lives. Yeah, they just won't care.
So the whole role of the film, the whole aim and the points of the film is to go through the personality, the whole personality, and to show you all of the problems which face this personality. It's not like the fact you just see it in the news or you just talk about it with your friends. You have the you have the ready scenario of all of the problems and all of the deep emotional trauma which the regisseur gives to you and which you see as a viewer. So, okay, about the teenagers, they watch jokers, they can be harmful, they can act like the joker, and other. So, if I was a teenager are touched from this problem, it means that I really need to understand their problem, to reflect, and also. And the social media and the films and series is just the way how I get through the problems. For example, all of you understand and all of you know the emo father of the person which now it is, for example, in their late 30s and they're существует, exist normally. They can be important also for society, but they just have some era which they will be too sensitive like teenagers. So also in my adulthood, I can cope with it. But also the films and series give me the reason to reflect about myself and to see if I'm okay, if I need some help, another, or if I even have the mental problem, and if my mental problem is important, it needs to be solved. So, okay, thank you for your attention.
Now let's move on to the analytic speeches, the last ones for this tournament. Yeah.
So 1, 2, 3. So hello everyone, I'm the opposition reply speaker. So we had the motion about the request of the rising. So thank you very much. So what are the main points that we have to prove? We have to prove that that's more more cute consequences are not that the rising of the popularity of these films are decaying. So let's compare to the case. The first video of the opposition side was about like the fiction and that people will copy this fiction and go to the the consequences. We have two repetitions. First of all, we have the psychologists and the people with the mental illness or not are trusting them more because what if we compare some film or the close to you per person psychologist that compares to you that helps you to work with this problem, you will trust in the psychologist. And psychologist will show you that no, do not do like that. So won't copy. And secondly, they won't copy because it is. When they see the bad actions or something like that, they want trying to avoid it. They do not want to harm other people. So it's just the basic logic why the people wouldn't do this, and the society will understand them. Why? Because we have the reason of the popularity, and the people understand the problem, and that's why people won't do bad actions because they have no, a bit on the society. Because we understand the problem, we still have the problem. How we can understand the problem and even to the usual people give the floor and give the attention to the problem while we have the movies? Because movies are everywhere, and everyone is as us is watching the movies, even if it is the rising popularity. So okay, yeah. And the second point was about the rising popularity. And that misunderstanding, and that people won't admit these mentally ill people because they're another, and yeah, they're another, and they do not understand them. So we have to deal and cope with this problem to give the attention to this problem. How we can give the attention to this problem? Because of the movies. The logic of our opponents is working and working in the proposition side. Because only in the proposition side, if we won't have the popularity of the film, people won't understand these mentally ill people. Because what? We have no movies. We have no movies where we in the skin of the mentally ill person. We do not understand why we don't understand the reason why the people became act like, for example, Joker. Even Joker, we have the parts of the movie why the Joker became as he became and trying to start killing people. Why? Because society didn't understand him and just wasn't accepted him. So now we'll understand the problem and we'll try to at least we have the attention. At least we understand that we shouldn't do like that. So and the rising of popularity is trying to solve this problem, trying to give the attention. Without the rising popularity, we won't have this. That's why we shouldn't forget about it. So yeah, and one more point. So and about the plot, they have a big idea about the plot. The plot is fiction, and it's not true. Only for the material, for the material wealth, for the directors, etc. We have, first of all, we have the films that are based on a true story, and the most like Forrest Gump and etc. Movies that are showing the real case of the real mentally ill people that are struggling with the problem. So, secondly, as we said, we have the fiction about the Joker. We even in this movie that are interested only because. That are the fiction. It is in the genres. It's fiction. It still has the reasons and showing the social problems, and we're trying to solve it. So the main consequences that we give is trying to increase the social awareness about this problem. Our opponents not. Why should we regret? Because people don't understand. So yeah, we have no idea why should we regret? Because the main problem that we had in this game are solved by our case, not the case of the opposition side. And we have the point about the material wealth too, because if the point, the problem will be in the mainstream point, then the companies that we had in our second speech during the mainstream to increase their rating will put the material to the, for example, the directors that get money from the film that depends on the story will give to the to this guy or to another fund that are collecting money. So we're trying to solve the problem that we have in the just empathy and attention given to it, and we give the material wealth because of the rising popularity of these movies and the directors that are giving to the movie, giving the material and the money to these people. So and that's why we have the to position and how the rising popularity is solving the problem that we have. So that's why we think that our opposition side was better than the proposition side.
And now let's welcome the last analytic speech for today's tournament, the reply speaker of the proposition
Three, two, one. Right, this is the reply speech of the proposition team. So first of all, thank you for everyone here who was present for our game today. Me and my team had a lot of fun. It truly is great kind of pleasure, great fun to play in the final, especially against such a strong team. Even have Russian Eminem here. And so in terms of clash points, I'm just going to be talking about mainly one idea that our opponents had. All their case, all they're talking about is kind of comes to society trying to help mentally ill people. Well, if this was true, if this was reality, yeah, it would be wonderful, it would be great. Yeah, I'd love to live in the world, but sadly, it's not realistic. Sadly, society does not work like that. A society, yeah, was caring, understanding, and just overall trying to help everyone. And yeah, it would be nice, but it doesn't work like that. So they're talking about like raising awareness. Yeah, that there will be films that will tell people what truly these mental illnesses are. Well, there is films, yeah, with mental illnesses. They do raise awareness, but sadly, most of the films, the most famous ones, the most popular ones are fantasy. Yeah, they're exaggerated, dramatized versions of illnesses, mental illnesses, and you got to remember who is mainly influenced by these films. Yeah, it's people whose brains are still being formed. Yeah, that is younglings, teenagers, and you know they don't have their own experience. They, unlike adults, they will see these films, yeah, that are trendy, that are fiction, like our opponents are saying. They're mostly talking about Joker when we brought a few more examples, and they'll be watching these films and getting the wrong idea, this exaggerated, dramatized idea of what mental illnesses are, and through that, it'll bring just more harm to society. Society, yeah, will be harming these mentally ill people, and the mental ill people just basically they will suffer overall. And yes, they could go to the psychologist, tell them, oh, it's okay, you're normal, yeah, don't listen to what other people are saying, but still, they will collapse under the pressure that is created by society, because the society is fed, the society is shown, yeah, the wrong idea, the wrong representation of mentally ill people, which is harming. So, what else? And our opponents in their world, they don't really see, they don't understand the kind of the depth, the complexity of mental illnesses, yeah? And what? they think they're just simple and predictable, and just showing them through a film will truly show the depth and understanding and kind of make the people understand what truly mental illnesses are. Yeah, sure, they would be great, but they still won't have this fully formed idea of what mental illnesses are. And so it's just overall, it just doesn't work like that. And in our world, everything is a lot more realistic and how it should be. Well, thank you again very much. Hope you enjoyed it.